Hello, good morning, happy Wednesday. It is game update day today. I know a lot of people have been waiting for the big Slayer update and all the Slayer changes to come into the game. That is not this week. I'm just going to start off by saying that. Mod Goblin said on August 15th that it would be within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So it's been about 1 week since then, which means we could hopefully expect the Slayer update next week or the following week. Maybe 1 week after that, but probably next week or the following, according to this tweet. But this week we have plenty of fixes and feedback, and this video is part of my game update series where not every week, but a lot of weeks I go over the game update and talk about the things that have entered the game that may or may not affect you. And with that said, let's jump in. The last video I uploaded in this series was when Varlamore Part 3 came out, which was 4 weeks ago, because ever since then, there hasn't been too much to talk about or go over. Most of the game updates since then have just been a bunch of changes or fixes to the Doom boss, and a bunch of fixes to the content in Varlamore rather than actual new content or new quality of life things being added to the game. But that brings us to today's game update. By the way, 200k players online on a random Wednesday morning. You really love to see it. Okay, here we go. More Doom changes, tweaks, pull 84, and summer sweep up changes. For the 4th week in a row, we have more changes to the Delve boss. I've not done the Delve, so I can't speak on that at all, but here's the list for those of you Delve enjoyers. Next thing we have summer sweep up combat changes. The summer sweep up has been rolling out throughout the summer, and I have been making videos in the playlist talking about all these changes that have been coming out. At this point, I think the bulk of it is out from the summer sweep up combat changes. They've just got some fixes here and there that they continually add in. And we have some more this week. So here we go. The kill count in the Deranged Archaeologist collection log is now white. We apologize for any distress this erroneous orange text caused. I showed in a previous video that when they added the Deranged Archaeologist collection log that this text right here was orange when it's supposed to be white to match all the other boss logs. And now they have fixed that because, you know, OSRS community, you gotta love them. They love pointing out things like this. They added some elemental weaknesses to more NPCs. I guess they forgot to add these before, or they didn't think to add them before. So you can take a look at this list. Just to clarify, this water weakness in the Inferno, this does not include ice spells. All these elemental weaknesses are for the standard spellbook. And Demon Bane weakness to monsters in Nightmare Zone. From the summer sweep up on June 25th, they changed Fasani's Nightmare so that when you die at Fasani's, you will respawn outside the boss lair next to Shura. It was not that way for regular Nightmare though. They only changed it for Fasani's, but with today's update, they changed it so that dying at regular Nightmare will also respawn you outside the boss lair. It is a long run to the Nightmare boss. You might even call it a nightmare. So it'd be kind of annoying if you died, you had to run all the way back there, claim your stuff, teleport out, then run all the way back there again, because you're probably not going to die with the full inventory of supplies to be able to do another kill right away. Or you'd at least have to remember what you died with and then bring the right amount of food and potions to match what you're missing, at least until you get the Sleepy Tablet from Fasani's Nightmare, which used to be 1 out of 100 and guaranteed on the 100th kill, which is now 1 out of 25 and guaranteed on the 25th kill. The summer sweep up made 2 big changes to how purples are rolled. They made it so that everything above level 300 is now changed to where it's overall less chance of a purple, but the higher you go above 300, the lower the weighting becomes for the Fang and the Lightbearer. However, those lower weightings only applied at 50 intervals, so 350, 400, 450, 500, so on. But now the reward weightings for the Fang and the Lightbearer, those get decreased every 5 levels rather than every 50th level. That's all the summer sweep up changes and adjustments. Next we have pull 84 changes. First thing, hunter traps will now stack in the inventory. It's time to go hunt red shins. Let me take all this stuff out and then grab some box traps out of the bank. In fact, I'll just grab my whole stack of box traps out. Whoa. So no longer do you have to worry about getting DC'd or losing your traps or someone else taking them and having to bank to go grab more or go somewhere to buy some more. You can carry them all with you. Also, there's a lot of bots at red shins. Well, there's all over the game, but like, this is also a spot with a bunch of bots. Nah, bro, you just don't get it. Crushboy22 is someone's alt account. He just really likes AFKing red shins on the side. Wait a minute, the Soul Wars zeal. So they nerfed the Soul Wars crates a few months ago. I wonder if all the bots, like all those accounts, they must have moved them onto doing other things instead of Soul Wars now. And it says they improved various hunting spots by adding more trap locations and rotating existing ones for a more efficient hunt. I don't exactly know the significance of this. I would guess maybe it's something to do with like a lot of competition doing hunter rumors in Varlamore because it's really crowded there, so maybe they added more spots because of that, possibly. Updated the list of quest items that can be cleared from your bank by the Wise Old Man. If you didn't know, if you talk to the Wise Old Man in Draenor Village, go to More, and then could you check my items for junk please? He will show you all the items in your bank that are junk items, mainly related to quests that you don't need anymore. I have some items because, I mean, some of these items you can't reclaim. I mean, you can get some of them back, but some of these you can't ever get again on your account, and I think it's cool to just like have these items forever since it's the only way to get them, and even though I struggle with bank space, it's definitely worth it, right? Probably not. Added a one-way level 74 zipline shortcut on Fossil Island from the tower to the small island. Let's find where this is. I did not have to search very long. I found it immediately. You can see on the minimap. I teleported here. I was like, well, that looks very different. And I saw this right away. So let's see. How do you use it? Do I just click the must tree? Is there like a new option on the tree? No. How do I use this shortcut? Oh, you just click right here. Oh, it's a teeth grip. All right, here we go. Yes. So it's level 74 agility to use this shortcut. Oh, this looks so weird seeing this here now. This is gonna be nice for collecting giant seaweed, especially if you don't do your birdhouse runs. It'll save even more time compared to if you don't do your birdhouse runs, because I'll show you what I do. So I go through my birdhouse run. Let's get to the last birdhouse first. I would go through my birdhouse run, build the last birdhouse, and then I go do my seaweed run. I know I maxed, but I like collecting items and I have weird goals on the account. So I'm still collecting giant seaweed on my account. I would finish my birdhouse run, come over to the boat, choose option 4, and that's how I would get to the small island. But now it probably would save a little bit of time. Yeah, I think I would save time teleporting to the POH after my birdhouse run instead, using the dig site pendant I have mounted in the POH and then running to the zip line, right? I don't know, it might actually be about the same, except this requires a bit more clicking and thinking, so maybe I won't do this. I don't know. It'll take some testing to figure out for sure, but I do a lot of giant seaweed runs, as you can see by my stack. In terms of when you're not doing your birdhouse run and you just want to come to this island, there's a couple clue steps here, so if nothing else, this would be a fast way to get here for doing the couple clue steps that are here. It's kind of crazy, I'll never be able to walk to these tiles ever again. They say you never know what you got till it's gone. I was just thinking it would have been cool if instead of adding an agility shortcut, they just did not add this and instead waited until sailing came out and maybe added some like way to sail here that would save time rather than using a skill we already have in the game. But if there's one thing that I do for sure want to see added with sailing, I've always said this, is that I hope that they add some kind of fast way or some kind of sailing shortcut to get to these two islands faster for the elite and master clue steps. That's not the only shortcut added today though. They also added, with level 69 agility, the one for the Darkmire master clue step. It is finally in the game. I've been waiting a long time for this. I've recorded myself showing how I would get there before. Maybe there's a faster way possibly, but this is just how I've always done it. I would use the Draken's Medallion to teleport to the TOB lobby and run from there. And as you can see, I've set a timer so we can keep track of how long this takes. They did the big run energy update in January of 2025 so that run energy drains slower and recharges quicker. And even right now, after the run energy change, with full graceful and 99 agility, I still only have 30% run left by the time I get there. So you could only imagine before the run energy change, you would run out of run well before you got there, which isn't a massive deal because stamina potions exist. It might just be a little bit annoying for Ironmen having to waste a sip of stamina or walk if they didn't want to use up their stamina potion for this. The main annoyance came from the fact that it takes like 3 minutes to run here for just one step of a master clue. So there's this whole run you have to do from TOB or however you get to this boat here, running all the way up along this wall. I know you can get set to the mines and get set to this area, but I don't think there's a way to get up the wall. I don't think. No one's ever corrected me on stream if there was a way to do that, because I've had this step plenty of times. So you have to run all the way around the wall, but now you should be able to go up this right here. So let's take a look at how that works. Here's the teleport with the Draken's Medallion to Darkmire. If you run all the way around here and come to the southeast-ish corner, there is a general store. And in order to be able to trade for the general store, you do have to be wearing the full Vire Noble outfit, the 3 pieces, because if you take a piece off, you'll see I cannot trade. So I do have to put that on, and now I can trade. And this is the only place in the game where you can buy the long rope, which only has 3 uses as of right now, or you only need 3 of them total. And it is pretty expensive for a shop item. It costs 52k. You can use 2 ropes on the eastern wall of Darkmire for the shortcut there, which requires 63 agility, and then 1 more for the VLD Cave Master Clue shortcut, which that one requires 91 agility, but we're going to be focusing on this one, 63 agility. I already have the shortcut built, but if you didn't, you would use 1 long rope right here, and that would allow you to climb on the wall, again with 63 agility. And then you could use a second long rope to build the second shortcut to go down on the other side. If you have a bunch of hollowed crystal shards for the Sepulchre teleport, I guess it could be a decent way to get to Araxor or Nightmare a bit faster if you don't have their respective teleports. But for what I'm going over for today, technically just for this clue step, you only have to have 1 long rope. But if you're doing this anyways, you may as well buy 2 of them. Since you're coming here, may as well do the completionist thing of unlocking everything. We timed how long it takes to get there with the old run, which was about 3 minutes. Now let's time how long it takes with the new run. I'm doing the worst case scenario here, which is assuming you're not using the Sepulchre teleport shards and you're just using the Draken's Medallion teleport to Darkmire. You don't have to grab out your Vire Noble outfit for this clue step as you're running by. You can just pray melee the whole time. And on this run, there's none of those Vire Watch that stop you and try to ask for the blood tithe, so you don't have to worry about trying to avoid those and navigating around them. Another nice thing about this new run is that there's not as much clicking required. You're not navigating up obstacles, down a bunch of obstacles, pushing a wall in. Really, the only thing you're doing is climbing up 1 rope. And on top of all those benefits, this ends up being about half the time, about 90 seconds instead of 3 minutes. While this shortcut with the rope is only 63 agility, this one's not updated on the map yet, but it is 69 agility to be able to use this shortcut to actually go over to the stash unit. 69 agility, nice, and then you can access it. And then to go back, you can't click on that same rock. You do have to right-click the stash unit if you do want to jump over and go back that way for whatever reason. They have hacker-proofed this shortcut, or they have hopefully at least, because they made it a requirement where if you're coming from this side, you can't jump over the master stash unit unless you have Sins of the Father done, and you have to have already built that long rope wall shortcut in Darkmire. And there's 1 more shortcut, or actually 2 more shortcuts, so 2 in 1 here. 2 more shortcuts in the Slayer Tower. There's a level 18 shortcut and a level 81 shortcut. Let's explore. These 2 shortcuts inside the Slayer Tower were already there, but on the outside we have 2 shortcuts, 1 here and 1 over here. Let's go to the eastern one first. This is the lower level one, the level 18 one. We got a fan trying to talk to me here. Sorry man, I'm busy recording a video. So this is a broken window. This allows you to get to the Banshees faster with 18 agility. You get some agility XP, you can get to the Banshees faster. And then for the higher level one, the level 81 shortcut, we have some ivy on the outside, which you cannot chop, but you can climb up. I'm hoping this will bring you right to Grotesque Guardians. Let's find out. Yes, it does. So if you die at Grotesque Guardians, you no longer have to worry about bringing your nose peg with you. I'm pretty sure they added a warning message if you try to climb up the spiky rope that you need a Slayer Helm or a nose peg if you don't have one on. So that's nice, it'll prevent that from people dying after they've already died at Grotesque Guardians and losing all their items. But now you don't even have to worry about that. You can just climb straight up here to get to Grotesque Guardians if you have 81 agility, and it's a faster way to get to this elite clue step. And I think there's a couple of other, maybe like master, elite or master clue steps. There's like kill an Abbey Demon in the Slayer Tower, and I think there's a Necreal one as well. And if you want to climb down, you can also climb out the window and go down the ivy as well. I really like the broken window and the ivy idea. Like it blends in really well with the whole theme, and it does not stand out at all. Like you would not notice that that's even there if it wasn't for the agility shortcuts and probably the soon-to-be Runelight highlight on the ivy and window. Some of the settings in the settings menu are now filtered based on account type, and there's now a button on the settings title bar that allows you to show or hide settings you don't yet have requirements for. If I click on settings, so it says account type, so that's probably like Iron Man. I guess like Iron Man or group Iron Man stuff. And the other thing on the title bar is to show or hide the things that you don't have unlocked yet. So like an example, that would be like barbarian farming, smashing the plant pots. The modify button on the GE offer status page has been changed from a right click on the abort button to a button of its own. As someone that doesn't use the GE, I have never done that before. I guess you had to right click abort to be able to modify an offer, and I see where that could be confusing for a newer player. And then they added Grand Exchange set boxes for the newer armor sets, which are all these, which even for Iron Man, that could save bank space. Some of these sets you can store in the POH, not as sets, but like as individual pieces. But for the ones that you can't store in the POH, and if you don't use the sets very often, it may make more sense, at least like for a main account, if you don't use it often, you probably just sell it, right? But for Iron Man, if you don't use a set often, then you may just want to put it in the sets. To show you how this works, we're going to go to the GE, and I haven't done this in a long time. Can you just use it on them? Or, okay, you have to go to sets and then find the set. And where's the Eclipse at? There's so many sets. Wait, oh, show craftable sets. Pack. Nice. And then you can't unpack it. This is why it's like only if you don't use it very often, because every time you want to use that set or pieces from that set, you would then have to come to the GE, go to sets, and then unpack it to be able to use the pieces again. Barrow sets can only be made from undamaged armor, and it's not listed here because the update's just from today, but I assume it's probably the same case for the Moon's armor, where it can only be made from undamaged armor. Back to the news post, we have some more drawn out explanations of things. So here's the Slayer Tower shortcuts, going over that again. And next, they have standardized how certain banking and item retrieval interfaces work. They all now look like this, where it's bin the items on the left, and then you have bank and inventory on the right. This is for Lunar Chest, TOB, TOA Chest, Coliseum Chest, Fishing Trawler, Wildy, and Deadman Loot Keys. They're all now standardized to have these buttons in the same spots. I don't know exactly how all these were in the past, but say for like TOB, the bin the items was like right here, and you did a bunch of TOB, and then you were to just one day go do Fishing Trawler, and then bin the items was on the right side where you're used to clicking bank. You could have accidentally gone through that. There's probably a warning message, I'd imagine, but it's nice it's standardized now, so you don't have to worry about clicking where you don't mean to out of habit. There are a couple of bank quality of life things that were in Pull 84 but aren't coming with this batch of Pull 84 changes, which they're just letting you know for the future. These are things that they're still working on. The looting bag deposit button upgrade will let you empty a bunch of different containers straight into your bank, and a new empty option for the Shades of Morton coffin while you've got it in your inventory at the bank. If this is what I think it is, that'll be really nice, because I think that means that after you do a Slayer trip, for example, and you have the gem bag, the seed box, the herb sack in your inventory, you should be able to just click the looting bag or whatever button this ends up being, and it'll just deposit all the items from all those containers. So hopefully after every single Slayer task, you're not going to have to right-click empty, right-click empty, right-click empty. I'm also hoping that this under the hood type of stuff they're working on will make it, or at least help make progress towards someday being able to deposit things from equipped items. Like for example, if you were to have the Shades of Morton coffin equipped, or the forestry log basket equipped, that they're going to have some kind of deposit from equipped items someday. It would be really nice. In the other changes section, we have a few things in here to point out. All tradable Yama items can now be added to Death's Coffer. When new content comes out, I think they purposely don't allow you to put them in Death's Coffer because the GE prices are not stable, so they wait a little bit to let you do that. There's normally a confirmation warning when you try to clear a bush or cactus farming patch, but you can now disable that warning. If I try to clear the poison ivy bush, you'll see that there's now a don't ask again option. And if you don't want to wait until the next time you're by your bush patch, you can go into the settings, type bush, and then warning on digging up a farming patch. You can uncheck that if you don't want the warning. This one's kind of crazy. Fixed an issue where certain tradable items could incorrectly fill collection log slots if they were sold and repurchased from a general store. I wonder which items you were able to do that for. Could have made for some interesting group Iron Man content. Oh, right here, redesign the item sets interface to let players toggle between viewing all sets or only those craftable with the items currently in their inventory. Because it's been so long since I made a set, I did not realize that that was a new option, the one I showed the toggle option on there. And that is all for this week's game update. Over the few weeks I haven't made the game update videos, there have been game updates, but just nothing to warrant its own separate video. But I do want to go through a couple of changes, or some changes over the last few weeks. And this one right here from last week's game update, I thought this was interesting. A lot of people may not have known about this, but clicking out of Mr. Mordot's chat no longer tricks him into setting the same puzzle repeatedly. In the classroom random event, you have to answer 3 questions, and the questions can either be the what comes next or pick 3 items. and the what comes next question is faster to do, and there was a way to force that question sometimes. And the trick is, as soon as you answer the question, instead of going through his dialogue, you would click on the teacher instead, and that would force him to do the same type of question again. You would have to actually roll the what comes next question though, which is why that wouldn't always work, because you won't always get that question within the first 2 questions. So that was a fun little trick. I'm kind of sad it's gone, but I guess it's for the best. On July 30th, one of the other changes updates was restored a single pixel to the rigor prayer icon, bringing back the cheeky glint in its eye. So yeah, there's the pixel right there. Very similar to the whole construction debacle from quite a few years back. Here, if you can't see it, here, let's do this. Okay, here, let's do that, and then crop to there, and if we zoom in, there it is, the green pixel on the construction icon. Like I said, OSRS players love to point these kinds of things out. Another part of this is master farmers in Civitas will no longer stand still indefinitely after being spoken to. This is one of the cases where the abuse early, abuse often crowd triumphs over the wait for the game to get easier crowd. Although it wasn't really early because this was in the game for a long time, I think since Varlamore was released, and they're just changing it now, or as of a few weeks ago they just changed it. Basically, the master farmers in Varlamore would never move or despawn, and this is because they had a talk to option. All you had to do was talk to them, and then you'd be able to thieve them as long as you want, or until you have to go bank, because this would set them up in a type of stall where I think like most NPCs in the game, when you talk to them, they get stalled on their tile until you move like two or three tiles away, and they become untrapped. But yeah, this no longer works anymore. There's a new audience member near the stage in Relica's Long Hall who's cheering on the bards, who was added in memory of a member of Jagex's video team who recently passed away. Here he is in the Long Hall. This is Hambling, and if you right click examine him, it says radiating mental toughness and determination. I do want to provide a quick update on the player count chart. The blue line is OSRS, yellow line is RS3, you can ignore that. This is the average online player count on a week-by-week basis. We did in fact smash through the all-time highs, and then if we look at peak rather than average, we also broke all-time high concurrent player count as well, getting to 248,000, if you look in the top left here, 248,811. And then, yeah, going back to the average for the average online player count, it was 185,479. To put into perspective how many players are online nowadays, here's a scraping from the Wayback Machine of every data point that it has from RuneScape.com that shows the player count. The player count during RuneScape 2 is mostly lost to history. This is the only way we have access to it because I don't think Jagex was tracking it. There's no one doing what the misplaced items that I just showed is doing nowadays. I don't think anyone was doing that back then, so this is all we have. This is all that's archived. Unfortunately, the most important year, 2007, where the game peaked, is the year that's missing most of the data, but we do have some data points there. It's very possible it went over 250k. In fact, a lot of you watching this video probably have some anecdotal evidence where you remember it being between 250 to 300k at the time. It's probably safe to say that right now our peak, our trough, and our average online player count is probably about where it was during the peak of RuneScape 2. You can argue that there's a lot of bots and maybe alts online too, but we don't know if the percentage of bots is the same or lower or higher now compared to 2007. The fact is that we cannot prove that point one way or another. But we have this post from August 7th where they say that they've already, as of this post, they already added 43 additional worlds over the last 3 weeks prior to this post, and since then they've also added an additional 20 more US worlds. And even prior to that, on July 30th, they had a new region survey. So in the future, we may be getting more regions eventually, and you can see different options that they had on here or other. I mean, anywhere is possible, right? On a somewhat related topic to the regions and worlds, over the last couple days as I'm recording this video, there have been some DDoS attacks on the game. Did they make an... I thought they made a news post on it. Okay, right here, August 18th, they said that they've been having recent world issues, investigating, we are being targeted by direct network attacks. And then shortly after that, we believe the server should be stable now, but they advise caution. And then skipping up here, ignore that one. We'll come back to this one. Again, August 19th, we're investigating recent world issues. Unfortunately, it does appear we're again being targeted by direct network attacks, leading to connectivity issues. And then shortly after that, It said, we believe the server should be stable again now, but we'd still advise caution. I saw people speculating that it's because of pirate software. He's been streaming OSRS recently, so people have been saying that maybe it's people trying to spite him for playing because they don't like him. I've also seen speculation alleging that it's because rank 69 hardcore got banned and that person wasn't very happy about getting banned and is spiting Jagex by DDoSing the servers. I have no idea if there's any merit to that. I bet the Colonello video will go hard, but until then we have the budget Colonello, which is me. Just like how we have the budget wild mudkip here, which instead of a mudkip with a Santa hat, it's a Trico with a red party hat. So yeah, it's basically the same thing, right? It's probably for the best that this kind of stuff is going on right now rather than later on when the player base is even bigger. And also because right now there's not a league going on. So it's probably best that this is happening now so that they can fix these types of underlying issues so that whatever's happening right now, however these attackers are able to do this, they won't be able to at least do the same type of attack when something more important is going on or when the player base expands even more. This has been such a throwback though. It's been reminding me of the early days of OSRS when Lizard Squad was DDoSing the servers. Like, as someone that's been playing since day one, I mean, obviously I don't want the servers to be DDoS, but it's been very nostalgic seeing these types of posts. Anyways, on a bit of a brighter note, have you ever wondered which random event gets dismissed the most? They made a shame list backed by the data team for your least to most favorite random events. It makes perfect sense too. This is basically what you'd expect because for the least dismissed ones, obviously the one-click ones like the Genie or Niles, you're not going to dismiss those, you'll just click on them for your XP lamp or your sapphire or whatever. The strange plant makes sense as well because you can't dismiss it right away. I'm pretty sure, I think, don't you have to wait for it to fully grow and like no one's going to stand around waiting for it to grow, so you're not even going to bother dismissing it. Or when it does grow, it's also just a one-click take the strange fruit as well. Wait, can you dismiss the strange plant before it's grown? I don't know. Or whatever. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the really annoying random events that give like pretty much no good loot at all and take a lot extra time to do. There's the Drunken Dwarf. That is a one-click, but then you get the 2 items in your inventory, the Bear and Kebab, which no one wants to have, and you would have to drop those items, so it's easier to dismiss the Dwarf as well. This one's interesting, though, the Mysterious Old Man. I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of this, but I'm pretty sure this update in 2023, they changed it so that sometimes the Mysterious Old Man just gives you an item, so I always left-click before dismissing because it's either going to be, well, when you get the Mysterious Old Man, I guess you don't know if it's going to be the maze, the mime one, or if it's going to be he just hands you an item. So always worth left clicking on the Mysterious Old Man before dismissing if you don't want to do those other two, because he might hand you an item sometimes. Count Check is also pretty frequently dismissed. I mean, he's pretty high up there, so do people, I guess people just don't have the whatever it is, like the Jagex account or authenticator or whatever to be able to get the lamp from him, I guess. I did not mean to get that deep into that tweet. Thought it was interesting and I started talking about it and I thought more and more about it as I was going. But anyways, so that is your wrap up from the last few weeks of what's been going on in the game updates, the drama, the happy parts, the sad parts, and stuff to look forward to in the future. Let me know in the comments what your favorite recent update or change is and if there's any new methods that exist now because of it. If you're new or returning to the game, I have a playlist which is linked in the description of game update videos just like this one if you want to catch up with the game updates while you grind. With that said, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.